So welcome to my demonstration today. Today we're going to talk about how to center an annotative drawing. So the process is here in front of you. I'll go ahead and read through the process and then we'll go into Paperspace and I'll show you how to go about doing this. So step number one, draw the object including center lines and dimensions if required. So do all of your drawing, add your center lines and add your dimensions, anything that's going to be attached to that view, make sure you have that done. Step 2, draw rectangles around each of the views to represent the extents of the view. I've already gone ahead and done that. Just when you're doing this, be sure you're including your center lines and, if you have them, any dimensions. Anything that's attached to that view should be inside of these rectangles that you're drawing. Step 3, go to Paperspace and set your annotation scale. Step 4, double-click inside the viewport to enter temporary model space. Step 5, measure the length of the viewport and the length of the view. Step 6, calculate the space required between views. Step 7, repeat this process for the width of the viewport and views. And Step 8, move your views as required and center the views in the viewport. So we pick back up from Step 3, go to Paperspace and set the annotation scale. Click on your Paperspace layout, come in here, select your viewport, and set your annotation scale. You need to make sure you do this before you go any further. As if you don't, then you're going to have to redo the entire process. So I've got my annotation scale set. The next step is click inside of my viewport to enter temporary model space. Step 5 is measure the length of my viewport. So I'm going to go ahead and lock this viewport so I don't accidentally zoom in or out adjusting my scale. And now just come in here and measure the length of this viewport. So I'm going to come in here to that area right before my pointer changes into a pointer and it stays as crosshairs. I'm going to click at that location. I'm going to measure with ortho turned on from the left side to the right side of this viewport. And when I do that, it tells me that the length of this viewport is 13.59 inches. I'm going to go ahead and just round that up to 13.6. And now I'm going to do the same thing for my views. So I'm going to measure the length of my view. So this first one is 4 inches long. I'll measure my other one, and it's 2 inches long. Now I'll take that information and determine my spacing. Okay, so this is what that's going to look like. I'll just bring up my calculator here. And I take 13.6, subtract off 4 inches for the length of my first view, subtract off 2 inches for the length of my second view, and I find out that that leaves me with 7.6 inches. Then I'm going to split that number equally amongst one space here, a second space through the middle, and a third space on the side. So I'll take that number divided by 3, and I should find out that each one of those spaces should be 2.53 inches wide, and that'll have the drawing centered horizontally. And then I've gone ahead and I've done this process going the other direction. It's just the same thing. You measure the width of the entire viewport, then you measure the width of your view, your width of your second view, and then divide by how many spaces you're going to have. So it's 1.35 going the other direction. So this is at step 7, which was repeat this process for the width of the viewport and views. So I've done that for both directions, so I'm ready for step 8, which is move your views as required and center the views in the viewport. So to save some time, I've already done this. So here's my views. I've got 1.35 inches in between my top view and my front view. I've got 2.53 inches between my front view and my right view as I calculated. So once I zoom extents, that brings those views into my viewport, and now I set my scale, which for this one is 3/4 of an inch equals an inch, and that will have centered my drawing. So at this point I would just delete my rectangles, delete these dimensions, Go ahead and lock my viewport just so that nothing moves. Click outside of it, And now that drawing is centered. I can print it and I can double check to ensure that it is actually centered. So that's the process for creating a annotative drawing that is centered. Good luck with that. I look forward to seeing what you come up with when I get back. Thanks for listening.